I'm 80 years old. I wake up most days before the sun, not because I need to, but because sleep doesn't stay with me the way it used to. When you're this old, mornings arrive quietly, and you start to understand which parts of your life are finished and which ones you're still carrying. I did everything I thought was right, and I lost my family anyway. That sentence still feels strange in my mouth. I'm not saying it for sympathy. I'm saying it because I don't have much time left to pretend I don't know how it happened. I live alone now, a small house that once felt full. There are rooms I don't go into unless I have to, not because they hurt too much, but because they remind me of how certain I was that I was doing the right thing. When you're old, people assume you've made peace with your choices. The truth is, you don't make peace. You just get quieter about what still aches. I'm telling this because maybe someone listening still has years left to notice what I didn't. I'm not here to be right anymore. When I was young, I believed in rules. You work hard, you stay loyal, you keep your word, you don't complain, you take care of your family. That was the list. I followed it carefully. I grew up in a house where feelings were something you handled on your own. My father worked long hours. My mother kept the house running. Nobody asked how anyone felt. We ate dinner. We slept. We moved on. So when I got married in my 20s, I brought that same idea with me. I thought love was staying. I thought commitment was showing up every day and not leaving. I didn't know there was more to it than that. My wife was kind, steady. She laughed easily. She noticed things. The way the kids held their forks. The way the light came in through the window in the afternoon. She talked about small things that mattered to her. I listened, but I didn't always respond. I worked. That was my role. I wasn't chasing money. I wasn't selfish. I was doing what I believed a good man did. I took pride in never missing a bill, in keeping food on the table, in being reliable. When the kids came, everything sped up. School mornings, packed lunches, homework at the kitchen table. I told myself this was the good part, and it was, in a way, but I was tired, always tired. When I came home, I wanted quiet, not because I didn't care, but because I didn't have much left in me by then. My wife carried the emotional weight of the house, the questions, the worries, the planning. I told myself she was better at it, that it made sense. I didn't see how alone that made her feel. There were moments, looking back, I see them clearly now. My daughter asking me to come watch her practice, and me saying maybe next time because work ran late, waiting for me to notice something he'd done, and me nodding without really looking. My wife trying to talk after the kids went to bed, and me turning on the television because I thought we both needed to relax. None of it felt cruel. That's the part that still confuses people when I tell them. I wasn't angry. I wasn't distant on purpose. I just kept choosing what felt responsible in the moment. I believed love was proven over time. I didn't realize time was also taking notes. Years passed. The kids grew. The house changed. We moved once, then again. Each place felt temporary, like something we'd settle into later. My wife started going out more, coffee with friends, volunteer work, long walks. I supported it. I told myself it was healthy. I never asked what she was thinking on those walks. Sometimes she'd say she felt tired, not physically, just tired. I'd tell her we were almost through the hardest part, that things would slow down soon. I meant it. I really did. The kids left for college. The house went quiet in a way I wasn't prepared for. I thought that would be the moment we found each other again, that we'd finally have time. Instead, I realized how little we knew how to talk without the noise of life filling the space. One night, she told me she felt invisible. She said it gently, not accusing, like she was stating a fact. I told her that wasn't true. I listed all the things I'd done, all the years, all the sacrifices. I thought I was reassuring her. She didn't argue. She just nodded and went to bed. I see now that I was defending myself instead of hearing her. Not long after that, my mother got sick, then my father. Life pulled me back into duty mode. Doctor visits, paperwork, long days. I told myself this was temporary. During that time, my wife started pulling away, not dramatically, just quietly. She stopped asking, stopped waiting for me to notice. By the time I realized something was wrong, it had been wrong for a long time. The turning point didn't come with yelling. It came one afternoon when she told me she didn't know who she was anymore, that her life felt like something she'd managed, not lived. I didn't know what to say. I told her we'd get through it, that things would be okay. She looked at me like she was trying to decide whether to believe me or herself. A year later, she asked for space. I agreed. I thought it would help. I thought distance might make us miss each other. We didn't fight. We didn't scream. We just slowly let go. The kids took it harder than I expected. They were adults by then, but something shifted. They asked questions I didn't have answers for. I kept saying, I tried my best, and I believed that. I still do, but trying your best doesn't always mean you did enough of the right thing. After the separation, the house felt different. Empty, but also heavy. Like something unfinished was still sitting in the corners. My wife moved closer to our daughter. They grew closer in ways I hadn't expected. I told myself that was good. That's what parents want. I stayed where I was. Routine felt safer. The calls from my kids became shorter, less frequent, polite updates, not conversations. I noticed I was always the one calling, always the one filling the silence. Eventually, I stopped calling as much. I told myself I didn't want to bother them. That's how distance grows, quietly, with good intentions. Then my wife died. It was sudden. A heart problem no one saw coming. I stood at her funeral, surrounded by people who spoke about her warmth, her patience, how she made them feel understood. I realized then how much of her I had never touched, not physically, emotionally. After that, my family changed for good. The kids grieved her. I grieved the version of myself I thought I was. There were no big confrontations, no final arguments, just a slow drifting apart that never corrected itself. Now I see my children a few times a year, holidays sometimes, birthdays when schedules allow. They're kind to me, respectful, but there's a distance that doesn't close, a politeness where closeness used to be. I don't blame them. They grew up learning who I was, a man who provided, a man who stayed, a man who didn't always show up where it mattered. There are things you can't fix once people stop needing you to change. I used to think being a good man meant being steady, predictable, strong. I didn't realize it also meant being available, curious, willing to be uncomfortable. I didn't know that love needs to be felt, not just maintained. If you're listening and you still have people who want to talk to you, I won't tell you what to do. I'll just tell you what I wish I'd known. When someone brings you a feeling, they're trusting you with something fragile. Don't answer it like a problem to solve. Sit with it. When someone says they feel alone, don't explain why they shouldn't. Ask them why. Time doesn't reward patience the way we think it does. It doesn't save things for later. Later is not a place you can count on. I thought I was building a life. In some ways, I was. But I was also postponing it. Now my days are simple. Breakfast, a walk, the news on low volume. I talk out loud sometimes, just to hear a voice. There's gratitude in me. I had a family. I had love. I had years that mattered. But there's also a quiet sorrow, the kind that doesn't cry. It just sits with you. If this meant something to you, you can sit with it too. You don't have to rush to fix anything. Just don't assume time will wait. As for me, I'll keep going as long as I can. I'll remember what I can. And I'll try to be honest now, even if it's late. That's all I have left to give.